If there is one thing I advise everyone I work with, no matter the age, weight, or lifestyle, it is to eat more protein. Now, I know protein is a buzzword nowadays, and for a good reason. People are starting to understand how important protein is, not only for gaining muscle, but for the body to operate properly and actually help with weight loss if that is part of your goal. Now, first and foremost, I am not a dietitian and will have more nutrition centered people on the pod, but I wanted to be able to address this topic as an intuitive eater and personal trainer with over a decade of experience. So let's break down why protein is so important, how to calculate how much you need, and some easy ways to start increasing your protein intake starting today. So, first of all, what is protein and why is it important? So, proteins are organic molecules made up of amino acids. Those are the building blocks of life. These amino acids are joined together by chemical bonds and then folded in different ways to create three-dimensional structures that are important to our body's function. There are two main categories of amino acids in the body. First, we've got essential amino acids, those that the body can't manufacture, and that's how we must consume them in our diets. Some amino acids are conditionally essential, which means that our bodies can't always make as much as we need. For example, maybe when we're under some stress. Now, next we have our non-essential amino acids. Those are the body that they can actually make for itself. During digestion, the body breaks down the protein we eat into individual amino acids, which contribute to the plasma pool of amino acids. This pool is a storage reserve of amino acids that circulate in the blood. Now, the amino acid pool in the bloodstream readily trades with the amino acids and proteins in our cells, provides a supply of amino acids as needed, and is continuously replenished. Think of it as like a buffet of protein for your cells. Since our bodies need protein and amino acids to produce important molecules in our body, like enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, and antibodies, without an adequate protein intake, our bodies cannot function well at all. Now, protein helps replace worn out cells, transports various substances throughout the body, and aids in growth and repair. So, here are a few more reasons why we need protein, especially in our fitness and wellness journey. First one, maintain muscle. Not all athletes are looking to pack on a ton of extra muscle, but if you're interested in continuing to put up strong numbers, you probably want to at least maintain your muscle mass. Protein is essential for keeping your muscles healthy and whole. Next is recovery. It is really important if you're looking to boost your recovery after tough training sessions. Consuming an adequate amount of protein is key to making sure that your muscles can keep you coming back to the gym safely and effectively. Also, building muscle. Whether you're an athlete or just really want to take up space as a woman, hypertrophy might just be your favorite word. The art of gaining muscle mass can be complicated, but also simple at the same time. Protein is very helpful for this. And also feeling fuller longer. This one might be especially helpful if you're on the go and you're anticipating maybe missing a meal or you don't have a meal planned in your future. This is really great to have just so that you're prepping your body. So you don't want to get hangry, of course. And you can try and fill up on some high quality protein. Because of your protein's impact on your hunger related hormone levels, this macronutrient can help you feel fuller for a longer period of time. So, how much protein do you need? Now, this depends on a few factors, but one of the most important is your activity levels. The actual basic recommendation for protein intake right now is specifically to prevent protein deficiency. So, if you hear this number, I want you to kind of like throw it out the window, but they recommend that it is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body mass in an untrained, like just a regular adult. Okay, so for instance, for this, like to hit just like to prevent protein deficiency, 150-pound person or 68 kg would consume around 54 grams a day. Now, again, this is only to prevent protein deficiency. It's not necessarily optimal at all, especially not for people that train or exercise at all. But for people that are doing maybe high intensity training, maybe resistance training, protein needs to go up to at least about 1.4 to 2 grams per kilogram, or about zero point 0.6 to zero point 0.9 or 1 gram of body mass. So this hypothetical 150-pound person would need about 95 to 135, more along the lines of 150 grams of protein a day. I like to take it very simple and say that anyone looking to lose weight or gain muscle, about 1 gram of protein per 1 gram of body weight. I weigh right around 150, about 147 ish. My goal is to hit 150 a day, no matter what. Okay, so there's more to this. Beyond the basics of preventing deficiency and ensuring a baseline of protein synthesis, we may need even more protein in our diets for optimal functioning, including good immune function, satiety, weight management, and performance. So, in other words, we need a small amount of protein to survive, but we need a lot more to thrive. So, when you heard that first number of 54 grams a day, I would not take that as your number. That is literally just to survive. Love you a little bit closer to that 100, 120, 130, 150 if you're that 150-pound person. Now, if you're someone right now that is like, you want me an arbitrary number again, 150, you want me to eat 150 grams of protein and I'm only eating 80 grams a day, like I definitely can't do that. I do not want you to jump all at once. This might super overwhelm you and your digestion if you're not used to eating that much protein. So instead, I just want you to set a weekly goal, maybe increase by 10 grams of protein average per day over the course of a couple of weeks. And then you can start to add in an extra 5 or 10 grams to get you closer to that goal. So now that you're ready, you're thinking about this and you're like, I know that I need to increase my protein intake. So how do I actually do this? The key with eating, to me, in my opinion, the key with eating enough protein throughout your day is to start early. Make sure you're having about 30 grams per meal. I always start my day with an overnight oats. You guys know me if you follow me on Instagram or anywhere. I have overnight oats and I've had it probably for 5 years in a row. It's super basic. I know exactly what is in it. I know exactly how much protein I'm getting. And it fills me up, like up until lunch, basically. So I typically make 3 at once, and I'll talk through the recipe now. 3 scoops of protein powder. I use Legion protein. Make sure to use the code TARATALK if you want 20% off your first order. Then I do a cup and a half of oatmeal. I do 360 milliliters of almond milk or any milk of choice. I do about 225 grams of Greek yogurt. And then I put in usually half a banana, some coconut flakes, some nuts of choice. Maybe I'll do some chia seeds, flax seeds, salt, cinnamon. And then I mix it all up and I pour them into 3 containers. So it's usually Monday through Wednesday. And then I'll do that again on Wednesday so that I can have it through the weekend. And then Sunday, I take off from overnight oats and eat a really nice English breakfast. So it could be overnight oats, it could be smoothies, it could be yogurt bowls. If you're like, I don't like any of these, I'm dairy free. Um, there's so many other options for you, but this is just something that works really well for me. So I always say, and this may sound boring to a lot of people, pick 1 or 2 things that really work best for you and literally just repeat them because that's the easiest way to stick with it. That's also the easiest way to know how much protein you're eating and making sure that you're getting enough. So, other meals, I focus on getting about 5 ounces of good quality protein, whether that's from chicken, beef, salmon as a part of the main meal. I do eat meat. I was a vegetarian and a pescatarian for a little while, but I just realized that I wanted more meat in my diet. So I now have chicken and turkey and salmon as well. Fish has super high in protein, especially salmon. So I do eat that a couple times a week. But when I look at my meals in advance, we start actually with the protein and we're like, okay, we're going to have chicken, but then we're going to have something with that or make it into something else. But here are just more rapid fire ways to add more protein in your diet, like today or tomorrow. And this is going to go for everyone, all food eaters. So just pick which one works best for you. Okay, you know your body better than anyone else. Okay, Greek yogurt, high in protein, can be eaten on its own. You can have it also with fruits and nuts in it. You can put so much in it to make it taste better than regular Greek yogurt. Nuts and seeds, you can throw almonds, pistachios, sunflowers, pumpkin seeds, all great sources into salads as just extra. Cheeses, if you eat cheese, I love cheese, so I'm going to eat it. String cheese cubes, cottage cheese, stuff like that. In protein bars, just try to choose one with minimal sugar, high protein content. A couple of my favorites are a brand called Barbells, Barebells. And then I love the Legion bars as well. Protein shakes and smoothies. Now you can literally add a scoop of protein powder into your morning smoothie, into your afternoon smoothie. That usually, depending on the protein that you use, Legion is around 25 grams of protein right away. So I know that no matter what, even if the smoothie is basic, it's a basic bitch smoothie, I know I'm going to get about 25 grams right there. You can also literally just have a protein shake with water or milk, or a milk alternative for a quick shake. You can enhance your meals. You can add beans and lentils in soups, salads as a side dish. You can also top your salads, of course, with protein like chicken, turkey, tofu, or beans on your salad. You can use cottage cheese. A lot of people don't like cottage cheese. I'm actually a huge fan of cottage cheese. I don't know. It's weird for some people. Anyways, choose high protein foods. Eggs, easy to prepare. They're super versatile for each meal. I eat eggs a lot too. I know some people don't love them. I know that a large egg is around 6 grams of protein. I just know that in my head. So if I'm going to have three, which I typically would have like in a scramble or something, boom, there's 18 grams. And then I typically have like turkey bacon or something like that with it. And I'm like, oh, cool. I've got almost 30 grams right there. So lean meats, chicken, turkey, lean beef, and pork, fish, seafood, salmon, tuna, shrimp, all other seafoods are excellent options and sources. You can also incorporate protein into your breakfast, like I talked about already, oatmeal smoothies, egg dishes. You can also utilize protein-rich grains. Did you know that there's protein in quinoa, in farro? Not a ton. Use it with other stuff, but there is protein in there. You can also switch to high protein alternatives. There is actually so many things on the market right now that are high protein alternatives. Powerlift is a really great example of water. It is literally protein water. You can have protein enriched bread. You can have protein pasta. We just got Goodles and Bonza. Those are protein macaroni and cheese. So many options out there, just finding what works best for you and your schedule. You can have edamame. I never thought to just have edamame as a snack, and I love it. Nut butters are not super high in protein. They're more of a fat, but you can add it to different things. And then again, if you eat dairy, of course, milk and yogurt and stuff. Okay, so hopefully those were really great ways to just quickly add it into your routine today. How do I track my protein is the next question I get asked all the time. When building muscle is your task, and if you're trying to lose fat, you might be interested in tracking how much you're intaking. So this doesn't mean necessarily that you have to count calories or even necessarily measure your food. But if you are an athlete that has a history of disordered eating habits, there are some intuitive ways to check out what's on your plate to make sure that you're getting enough. If you're someone that has never measured anything before, it might be helpful to just grab a food scale to just see actually how much you're eating. Because oftentimes I'll be like, hey, client X, how much protein do you think you're eating? And they'll be like, oh, probably around 60. And I'm like, let's check back and like tell me everything that you're eating. And then when we actually look at the sizes of what they're eating, it's higher than they think. And not this isn't for everyone, but sometimes I'll just weigh my chicken just so that I know that I'm getting around 4 to 5 ounces because I know that's how much I want. So if anything, if you want to measure anything, make sure it is the protein source. Like it doesn't have to be everything else. There are a few tips that you can keep in mind. Obviously, there's protein tracking apps. MyFitnessPal or a similar platform, there is My Macros. That is just like a macro counting thing. But also, again, you don't have to do this. This is just an option for you. These libraries also indicate like estimations of how much protein a given food may have. You can also have an automatic journal space to record your protein intake over time, which also can help you spot trends alongside of your workout logs and your food intake. For example, I know that an egg is 2 grams of protein. I know that about 4 to 5 ounces of chicken is going to give me around 30 to 35 grams of protein. That's just something I know now because I've done it so many times. Also, like having a food scale is nice. If weighing out your food feels like an affirm and accessible option for you, it might be a good idea to just purchase one. Many out there are like super small and you can use them whenever. But this doesn't mean you have to weigh everything for the rest of your life. Again, this is just data for you, right? Now you can look at something and I can look at something and just eyeball it and kind of know exactly what I'm eating. And you can really like think of training your protein knowledge as muscle. you would track the amount of weights that you're using. Let's track the amount of protein you're eating. You can also use the hand method. Another popular method is to eat a palm or two worth of protein at each serving. For example, the palm of your hand could be one serving of protein. And then estimate kind of how much that is, weigh it, and use it as a default serving. Pretty soon, you'll be able to eyeball pieces of meat or other sources and have a firm idea of what the protein content is without any scales required. So, again, all data is good data. But do I have to track my protein? No, you don't have to. I don't anymore because I intuitively know how much I'm eating a day. And can you do this? Yes, of course. Again, this comes with time and patience and putting in the reps. And again, I eat very, very basic. So I know what I'm eating every day, like super, super basic. And I think a lot of times people are always looking for like this new thing, whatever. But it's like, if you know what works for you, why not just replicate it in as many different ways as possible? Like rice, beans, and chicken, for example. I can have that in so many different styles, right? Of course, I can make it Mexican. I can do an Indian. I can make it Italian. Maybe not Italian with beans, but like, you know what I mean? So have like your base and you can do so many things from there. But intuitive eating, if you're like, okay, I can't do the calorie thing. I can't track my protein. How can I do this? Now, there's a lot of people that can't do this just from the eating disordered past or, wants to be more of an intuitive eater like myself. Intuitive eating relies on your internal hunger and satiety cues, which is really just feeling full to determine what and when you eat. Now, there are some athletes that really like you're already used to listening to your body about when to push and when to pull back in the gym. So if you're already doing that intuitively, intuitive eating can serve as a natural extension of that attention to your body. And it has been shown to help physique athletes, like these big bodybuilder athletes, like develop more confidence in their bodies and improve their mental health. If you think about like these big bodybuilders or people that are on stage and they show their body and you're like, they don't do intuitive eating. I actually know a couple that do because of this thing, especially because, obviously going on and off stage does a lot on your body and in your mental health. So intuitive eating is a non-restrictive approach to food that's governed by the sense of being hungry or full. You'll tune into your internal hunger and fullness. So food isn't just about fuel, and intuitive eating principles take that into account. You might be eating to power your next workout. You might be looking forward to the taste of birthday cake at your friend's birthday party. Intuitive eating helps you think of your relationship as going beyond the good or bad lens of food. It also helps you check in with yourself about why you're eating or why you're not eating a particular food. And then, for example, like if you're heading aimlessly to the snack cabinet, are you hungry or are you bored? And when you're declining that second piece of pizza, is it because you're full or because you feel like you should say no? This approach just teaches that food is value neutral. No food is inherently better or worse than others. It just serves different purposes at different times. And again, using that fullness and satiety level will get you to understand where you can add more protein in when you feel like you haven't had enough. Now, can you eat too much protein? If you overeat protein, this extra protein can be converted into sugar or fat in the body. However, protein is not as easy or quickly converted as carbohydrates or fat because the thermic effect is a lot higher than carbohydrates or fat. Most of the population, 90% of us, we're not overeating protein. It's mostly that they're under eating protein. 30% of the protein's energy goes toward digestion, absorption, and assimilation. Only 8% of carbohydrates energy and 3% of fat do the same. And you may have heard the statement that a high protein intake harms the kidneys. This is a myth. In healthy people, normal protein intake poses little to no risk for your health at all. And that's actually pretty fairly high. I looked into some research on what that would look like, and that is about 1.2 grams of protein per pound. And that does not impair your kidneys. Okay, so protein is what we talked about today. As with everything in life, it's all about moderation and variety, right? Eat your protein, but also your carbs, fats, fiber, and micronutrients, aka all those fruits and vegetables. If you want more information on food, on macronutrients, again, I will have more dietitians on the podcast. I am not a dietitianist myself, But I have done some nutrition classes and courses in the past and feel as though protein is a very valuable macronutrient that a lot of us have trouble with getting enough. So I hope this podcast was super helpful for you. And remember, eating healthy doesn't have to be boring and plain. Find some recipes or meal prep service and fuel your body while eating delicious foods. You have got this. And if you want to work with me one on one, just apply with the link in the show notes. I would love to be working with you soon.